Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be 3 looks with one palette, that palette being the Balm in the Balm of Your Hands Greatest Hits Volume 2. This will not all be recorded in one setting. I'm going to start off with a no makeup look, and then I will follow that up with a soft glam and finish off with a full-blown smoky eye. And this will be recorded over the course of 3 different days, today being the first day of the recording. So yeah, let's get started. I've already done my skincare and my foundation and my eye primer, and I'm going to keep those specific products the same throughout. Primarily for my skincare, I used the Duft & Doft Hemp Seed Deep Hydration Serum that I got in this month's Ipsy bag. And then I primed my face with the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. I used my CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made foundation in the shade L30. It's my go-to foundation anyway. And let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. Sorry about that. Small recording space. I used the Beauty Crop Stuck on You eye primer. And yeah, my lid is very much faded out. You can see on the back there, maybe. Focus. Well, it does not want to focus on the back sticker, but it's the Beauty Crop Stuck on You eye primer. And that's what I used for eye primer. And those are products that are going to stay the same throughout each day of recording. And rather than bore you all with the details of seeing me do those steps, I will be doing them in advance, just like I did today, so that we can get straight into the different looks. And this will also be the same throughout all 3 days of filming. The only product that will really change throughout is going to be my lippy, maybe my eyeliner, probably my eyeliner, and possibly mascara. But let's go ahead and get started. And this does have a mirror. Not going to show you too much of it though, because I've got, like I said, very limited space. And it's got 4 eyeshadow shades, 2 mattes, 2 shimmers, a highlighter, 3 blushes, and a bronzer. And for today's look, we're going to start out with Matte Russo, which is the lightest of the matte shades here. And we're just going to take that on a nice fluffy blending brush and apply it all over the lid. We don't want anything heavy. Like I said, this is for a no makeup look. So we're just going to apply that all over the lid very generously. Bring it up over the crease, almost to the brow, just for a solid wash of color across the lid. And I'm not using my ring light today because my phone needed to charge, but I didn't want to put off doing my makeup for the day. So I'm charging while I'm doing my makeup and recording, and hopefully the natural sunlight from my window is enough. Okay. And like I said, we're bringing that up almost all the way to the brow. And we're not going to bring it out too far in the outer corner either. That's pretty much it. And as far as concealer goes, I just tapped a little bit extra of my eye primer onto my inner corner and underneath my lids today. I didn't want a whole lot of anything really. For the no makeup look, I want to look as natural but flawless as possible. My mirror is kind of behind my lens, so it's not that I'm looking past y'all, it's that I'm paying attention to the mirror while I apply this. There we go. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to take a slightly flatter brush, and I'm going to go into the bronzer shade, which is Bahama Mama. I had to check the back because, as you can see, there's been quite a bit of use of this. And with just a more flat brush, this happens to be the 65 EM mini shading brush from Farrah. And we're going to dip very lightly into that bronzer shade and just ever so slightly darken up the outer corner of the crease. Just enough to add a little bit of dimension and bring that in some as well. And just make sure you get that blended very, very, very well. Like I said, we're just adding some dimension. We don't want to add color, really. We don't want to darken it up so much that it's noticeable. And we just want to add depth and dimension to the lid so that it's not just all one thing. Do that again on the other eye. And like I said, we're not bringing it too far out. We're not making it real dark. We're just ever so slightly adding a little bit of dimension. And y'all can see that. And that's pretty much it for the eye look. I'm going to add just a little bit of white eyeliner to my lower waterline. Just where y'all can see, just a little bit, not a whole lot. And yes, I do ever so gently pull my lower lid down for easier access to that waterline. I apologize if that makes anyone uncomfortable, but that's why I do it, so that I don't poke myself in the eyeball doing this. I never do my upper waterline. I just don't see any point in it, and this eyeliner will remain the same as well. It's in LA Colors, just basic pencil liner. It's white. Like I said, it makes the eyes look a little more open, makes you look a little bit more awake. Now we're going to go with the Flawless Finish Blend from MOTD brush, back into that same bronzer shade. I'm going to tap that off to where there's almost no product whatsoever on it. Ever so gently going to go down one side of the nose and repeat on the other side of the nose. You don't want to do too much for a no makeup, just a little bit. Just enough to kind of perfect the shape of the nose and thin it out a little bit. And then I go through with my fingers and just make sure that's thoroughly blended in and nothing's looking abnormal. And then I go in with my Ulta Beauty cheek brush. I've got two of these, one that I use for bronzer, which we're going to tap into now. And again, tap that off and just into the hollow part right under your cheekbone. And just tap that in and blend it like crazy. You almost don't want anything to be there. And repeat that on the other side. Again, just into the hollow part of your cheekbone. And that will vary depending on where your cheekbone sits, where you place the bronzer for this kind of look. And then I take, again, just ever so slightly, tap it off, and into my temple, the hollow spot up there. And again, just blend that in like crazy. You don't want it noticeable. You don't want it visible. You just want to add a bit of depth and definition to the existing low points of the face. And then with the other Ulta Beauty cheek brush, I'm going to go into the blush shade Down Boy, which is this very first one. It's a very light pinky blush. And because I am extremely photosensitive, I sunburn very, very easily. So a pinky blush right on this part of my cheek, not quite the apple, but not quite the top of the cheekbone either. And just blend that out. And like I said, it can look very, very natural on me because I do sunburn so easily because of being highly photosensitive. So we just blend until that looks as natural as we can possibly make it look. And then I'm going to go in with my SL Miss Glam Tapered Glam 5 into the highlighter shade and pick up just the tiniest little bit of the highlighter and make sure we brush that off as well, and just tap that on to the highest point of my cheekbone and up around the outer corner of the eye. There we go. And then again, blend so that it looks like you just have a natural, soft glow. And again, back into that same highlight. Dust it off real well, and then just right into the center of the nose. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with my finger to the highlight shade and just tap that right into the inner corner just to brighten that up a little bit. And again, just enough to make it look like there is a natural glow there. And if you want to take your brush and blend that out underneath, you can. And then for lips today, I'm going to go in with the Seraphine Botanicals Berry and Juice 100% vegan lip gel, which is the one that I also got in this month's Ipsy. And I'm going to just apply that. It's just a very sheer, glossy lip oil. And of course, you could go with just a clear gloss or even a lip balm if that's what you prefer for a look like this. And then I did not get out a mascara. Let me make sure this is the right. Nope, that's not the right bag. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay, this is the bag with my mascaras. And I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay Perversion mascara. I haven't used this one in a while, and I do prefer to get little minis when it comes to mascara because it's just easier to guarantee I use them before they go bad. And I don't really want to add length or volume today. I just want to darken up my lashes a little bit, so go very, very light with the mascara. Of course, you can use your favorite mascara. It doesn't matter what that happens to be. And just go very, very lightly with that. And just a single coat all the way across the bottom lashes as well. There we go. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little spoolie, and the same thing I do with my brows every day. I just brush through them a little bit just to lay them kind of where I want them. And that is it. This is the no makeup version of the In the Balm of Your Hand Greatest Hits Volume 2. Okay, so we are back now for the second of 3 looks using the In the Balm of Your Hand palette, Greatest Hits Volume 2. Again, same prep on my face, the Duft and Doft Hemp Seed Dehydration Serum, the FAB First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer, the Beauty Crop Stuck On You Eye Primer, and the CoverGirl Matte True Blend Matte Made in the shade L30. And today I did set with just a little bit of the Ciate London setting powder. It's the Extraordinary Translucent Powder. And I said set. I do not bake. I just take a tiny little bit of the setting powder on an extremely fluffy brush and just very gently set the powder. Today we are going to be doing a soft glam look using this palette. And again, I did not use any concealer today. I used just a little bit of my foundation in the inner corner and underneath the eyes to slightly cover my dark areas here. But again, no foundation today. I will be using foundation tomorrow, or not foundation, but concealer tomorrow for the full-on smoky eye, but we'll discuss that when I get to it. But for today, we're going to be doing the soft glam look. And a lot of the brushes I'm using are going to be the exact same ones I used in the no makeup look. It's just easier to do it that way. That way I'm not having to go through and wash my brushes. So I've got them along with a few extras here. Let's get started. We're going to start off again with that super fluffy brush that we used for yesterday in the shade Matte Russo, and we're going to go into that again. And we're just going to start off by ever so lightly into the crease today with that shade. Just a little bit. And this is just going to lay down a light transition for us. So just ever so gently into that shade, across the crease, just the crease. Don't want to bring it up too high, don't want to bring it down too low. We want to focus almost exclusively into the crease with the shade Matte Russo, which is this shade right here. Next, we're going to go into this shade, which is a Matte Reed, which is another of the matte shades, and we're going to be doing that with the brush I used for the shade Matte Russo was the 35 EM mini tapered brush from Farrah Brushes. We're going to go in with the 65 EM mini shading brush into the shade Matte Reed, which again is this one down here, this darkest matte shade. And we're going to just dip ever so gently into that shade, dust it off. And with that, we're going to go into the outer corner and just darken up that outer corner. And you can bring that around also somewhat into the crease. Just make sure you fade it into the Matte Reed shade so that it's not too much. And we're just darkening up that outer corner. And repeat that on the other eye. And I try to start out doing my right eye because it is actually the harder one for me to do. If you start on the eye that you have the most difficulty with and then match the one that is easier for you to that one, you're more likely to get a more symmetrical look to your eye makeup. And that's something that I actually learned from other YouTubers, not something that I came up with all on my own. One of my favorite ones to watch is actually Robert Welsh. He is fantastic. I will link him down below. I love his tutorials and all of his stuff. He's fantastic. And his brother James does skincare, which I also watch him for skincare, so I'll link them both down below in the description. Okay. Now what we're going to do is same brush, we're going to go back into the Bahama Mama, which is the bronzer shade, on the opposite side of the brush. So this is the side that I used for matte reed. We're going to go and flip that over to the cleaner side of the brush and go into Bahama Mama and just slightly onto the lid in that little gap that you left, filling in the inner corner. Don't bring it in too far, just a little bit. Maybe about 1/3 of the way into the lid. And like I said, into that gap that you left doing the outer corner. You want to kind of do that into a V shape with the matte reed and then fill that in with the Bahama Mama bronzer. And again, over here on the other side, just ever so lightly. And then this is where things are going to get a little bit more fun. I'm going to take this brush, which is one of the brushes from the Tetris collection that Ipsy did, and we're going to go into the shade Firm, which is the shimmer shade right here. I'm going to dip that in and get quite a bit of color there and fill in the entire rest of the lid with that shade. And I prefer to do this with a fluffier brush just because it gives better coverage, in my opinion. Okay. There we go. Got that all filled in nicely. And then I'm going to go back in with the mini shader brush from Farrah, and again on the side that we used for matte reed, and just tip the very edge of that in there and come right underneath in the outer corner and connect that in to where you already did the outer corner of the lid. Ever so gently. You don't want to bring that color down too far underneath, otherwise it didn't do you any good to cover up your dark circles. You don't want to bring it too far in because it'll darken up the entire eye area. But you do want to make sure it connects into that outer V. And there you go. Okay, so up next, let me see. Reach for my other brushes that I've got set off to the side here. Yeah, I guess so. We'll get the SL Miss Glam short shader brush. And we're going to go into the highlighter shade here with that one. And we're going to highlight our inner corner. And our brow bone. And we want to really, really bring attention to that inner corner with the highlight. We want it to glow. Repeat that on the other side. Again, make sure we bring plenty of highlight into that inner corner and make it glow. And underneath the brow bone. There we go. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of, this is the Pixie by Petra in the Silky Eye Pen in the shade Rose Glow. And I'm going to go right along the line that I want to have for the bottom of the color here, and bring that across. And yes, I am using my screen as a mirror right this minute. I apologize for that. It's just the closest for me to be able to see what I'm doing. And you can see that. And bring it across on the other eye as well. And there you go. And now you've added just a little bit of eyeliner, and I'm going to actually tip that up just a little bit to follow that outer V over here. My lines are not exactly straight, but then again, neither am I. And then I'm going to go back in with the short shader brush that I used to highlight, and I'm just ever so gently going to smudge that line a little bit. To where it's not a harsh line on the outer V, it just blends into the eyeshadow you've already got there. Again, repeat that over there on the other side. Now, I'm not doing that across the lash line here. I'm just doing it on the very outer corner to where it blends a bit into, like I said, the eyeshadow that's there. And using a short stubby brush for this makes it a little bit easier to get that blend when you're just smudging an eyeliner for blending. And then we're going to go back in with the same white eyeliner that we used yesterday from LA Colors. I did sharpen it this morning. And again, just the lower waterline, just to make the eyes look a little bit more open, make you feel a little bit more awake. And if you don't have a white eyeliner, a true nude, which is a nude that matches your skin tone, which means a true nude is not going to be the same for everybody, because no two people have the exact same skin tone. A true nude is going to be one that matches your skin tone, matches the color of your waterline. That will also work to open up the eyes and make you appear a little bit more awake. Okay, so again, we're going to go in with the Urban Decay Perversion Mascara. And instead of going with a very light coat like we did yesterday, we're going to go a little bit thicker. We want to get some length and some volume on these lashes today. Not too much. We don't want to go over the top with it, but we do want some length and some volume. We're going to get that lower lash line too. And yeah, I know, I've got a little bit of a smudge right there. I'll clean that up when I brush out my brows. And I am alternating between using the monitor as my mirror, using the mirror in the palette as my mirror, and using my actual mirror as a mirror. So I'm trying to give y'all just as many angles as I'm giving myself for viewing the way I've done this makeup so far. And again, if you've got a favorite mascara that gives you length and volume and everything that you love in a mascara, use the one you've got. None of this is sponsored. None of this was PR. This was stuff that I already had in my collection that I'm using just for the purpose of showing y'all some different looks you can create from existing products in your collection. And again, doing my brows the same way I do all the time, just gently using a spoolie brush to just brush through them and kind of lay them down. And again, use that same spoolie. You can clean up gently in spots where you may have misplaced some mascara or where it may have smudged. Of course, waiting until it dries is best to do that, but that cleans it up, and you can see the eye look that I've created. Now then, we're going to go in with the Ulta Beauty cheek brush that I use for my bronzer, and we're going to go into the Bahama Mama bronzer. And we're going to, just like yesterday, start out going into the dip just below the cheekbone. But we're going to go a little bit more heavy-handed with it today and do a little bit more contour than we did yesterday. So we're going to start out going there. And again, just like yesterday, we're going to tap just a tiny bit into the dip that is the temple. Then we're going to take a little bit more and dust that off and go all the way across the forehead right at the hairline and blend that across. And we're going to take a little bit more of it, and I'm going to do my jawline. And we want to blend that out really, really light. You don't want to look like you've got too much going on there, or at least I don't. And where your jawline is going to depend on the shape of your face, of course. For me, I'm going right here, because that's the bottom of my jaw. And just blend that up towards the ear and kind of connect that in on myself where I put right here in the hollow of my cheekbone. And then I'm going to take my Flawless Finish blend brush, cat hair, from Makeup of the Day, into the bronzer. And again, I'm going to contour down the side of my nose. And of course, how much contour you use will depend on your face shape, the shape that you want to have, your comfort level with it. I mean, a lot of things depend entirely on the individual. And today I'm bringing that up and connecting it into the inner side of my brow. There we go. And then I'm going to take my other, and you can tell, see, I do have two of them. One for bronzer, one for blush. My other Ulta Beauty cheek brush, and I'm going to go into the blush shade Frat Boy. Now, yesterday we used Down Boy. Today we're going to use Frat Boy, which is a slightly darker shade. And we're going to put that up just a little bit higher on the cheek today. And I'm just ever so gently tapping that on in an upward motion up towards the temple. And then blend. Blending is your friend. And you can see where I've got that, I hope. Just noticed I need to blend out just a little bit more of my bronzer, and I'm going to use, this is just a 50F Farrah brush. This is the same brush I actually use for my powder. And I'm going to blend the bottom edge of my bronzer. When I was showing you my blush, I noticed that it was a little bit too obvious for my liking. So we blend that in really, really well. We don't want any lines to be noticeable and obvious. We want everything to be thoroughly, thoroughly blended. So we blend. And then I'm going to go in with my SL Miss Glam Tapered Glam 5 brush into the highlighter shade. And today we're going to highlight down here actually. Down more toward where we put yesterday's blush is where we're putting today's highlighter. And again, just a little bit into the center of the nose. I'm going to take just a little bit on my finger, right into the top of what should be my Cupid's bow. If you've ever paid attention to the shape of my lips during any of my other videos, you know that they're not exactly ideally shaped. But that's okay. Because using makeup, you can change the shape of your face any way you want to make it look. Again, make sure this is all thoroughly, thoroughly blended. And if you want to put a little bit on your forehead, you can. You can see I'm not. I don't like to look like I've got a shiny forehead. That's entirely personal. And then I'm going to go in with the IBY liquid lip in the shade Nude for today. And I start in the center of the lip. And I use the edge of the brush, or doe foot, to trace the shape that I want for my lip. And then I drag product down. In case you didn't understand that, I said then I drag the product down. And fill in. And I do press the lips together just to transfer and see where I need to fill in on the bottom lip. And then I use my finger just to smooth out that product. And I do go darker towards the edges so that it gets lighter towards the center. Which gives somewhat of an ombre effect to the color, without having to use multiple colors. And that is the finished look for the Soft Glam using the Balm in the Balm of Your Hand Greatest Hits Volume 2. And if you stick around, I will do Greatest Hits Volume 3, or Volume 2, Smoky Eye Look, next. Okay, so now we are ready for part 3 of this tutorial. Again, I've done all of my base products. You should be familiar with this by now. The Duft & Doft Hemp Seed Deep Hydration Serum, the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Primer, the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made in L30, the Beauty Crop Stuck On You Eye Primer. Again, I set everything with the Extraordinary Translucent Powder from Ciate London. Sorry for the glare. And today I also used my Bye Bye Under Eye from IT Cosmetics in the shade 20.0 Medium Neutral. Or N, but still that N stands for neutral. So that's got us to where we are right now. And this look is going to be the smoky eye, and of course it is the Balm in the Balm of Your Hand Greatest Hits Volume 2 palette, again, because that's what all three of these looks are using. And we're going to start off again with our fluffy brush in the shade Matte Russo, which is that lightest matte shade right here. And again, we're just going to go into the crease with this shade, just like we've started most of our looks so far. This one starts out the exact same way, just right into the crease with it. And then we're going to take this brush, which is the brush we started with, is the 35 EM mini tapered brush from Farrah. Next we're going to go in with the 65 EM mini shading brush, and we're going to go into this shade here, which is Matte Reed. We're going to dust that off a little bit. We're going to go into that outer corner. We're going to go up into the V, make a good V here, and bring that up. Don't be afraid to bring it out and up further than what we did for the soft glam look. And we will clean that up a little bit when we get done, and we're going to repeat that on the other side. So again, bring that V out and up. But you want a good solid V there on that outer corner. Bring that in just a little bit and blend that into the shade that we used, the Matte Russo shade that we used for our transitions shade. Just blend that really, really well into that crease. Darken that crease up really nicely. Okay, and then with the opposite side of this brush, we're going to go into the bronzer shade, which is Bahama Mama. And we're going to go just back over that V and just smoke that out some. Blend it and smoke that corner out. Repeat that on the other side. Just blend that out, make it nice and smoky and rich. And yeah, I know my lines are not exactly straight, they're not exactly even. That's okay. With a smoky eye, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight lines. You want it to be blended well, that being the main thing, of course, and full of rich color. And you can kind of see where that's going there. Okay, next we're going to go in with this brush, which is just a nice little, not little, large tapered brush, and we're going to go into the shade Firm, which is this one here. It's the lighter of the two shimmer shades. And with this, we're going to go back on the inner corner of the crease, or the inner half of the crease, and go over that really, really well, bringing that shine into it. got flies buzzing around because we have to open the door to let the animals in and out, specifically the puppy dogs. So I apologize for that. And we're repeating that on the same, with the same shade on the other side, which is the shade Firm, on the inner half of the crease, just to make everything blend really, really nicely. But we don't want to bring that too far down onto the lid, because next we're going to go into the shade Alice Cooper right here, and we're going to do that with this brush, which is the SL Miss Glam Short Shader brush. And like I said, we're going into the shade Alice Cooper, and we're going to fill in that V. And we're going to bring that over and blend that into where we just applied the shade Firm. Just get that all over really, really good. And again, repeat that on the other side. We're filling in that V and bringing it across the lid. Using the mirror that came with the palette, of course, or at least trying to. And you can kind of see where we're at right now with that. And then we're going to go in with an angled brush, and this is the 15E Angle Brow. I don't use it as a brow brush, but we're going to go back into the shade Alice Cooper with this, and we're going to go under our lower lash line, but only part way. And we're going to bring that up as well into that outer corner, just like that. And we'll keep that on the other side. Like I said, just part way in and bring it out at the outer corner. We're going to dust that brush off to the best of our ability. And using the same brush, we're going to go back into the shade Firm and do the inner half of the lower lash line. And I'm just going to give y'all a heads up. I had intended to use lashes for this look, but my allergies have been acting up really, really bad. My eyes have been extremely watery and just not real good. So I will not be doing lashes. However, if you want to use lashes with this look, by all means, go for it. I think lashes would be the perfect finisher for this look. And again, we're just making sure that's all blended nicely together. Sorry. You can see where we're at now. So I'm going to take this little flat brush here, which is the brush I use for the application of my concealer, and I'm just going to use it to kind of clean up the line down here. I'm not adding any new product to it, just cleaning up the line that I want to have. And you can clean up across the top as well a little bit. And this just sharpens everything up, makes it all look, well, cleaner and sharper, more defined. There we go. That is the eyeshadow for the most part. And we're going to go with this fluffy brush, which is from the Ipsy Tetris collection, into the highlighter shade. And we're just going to highlight that brow bone. blend that in, make sure everything gets all blended together. And repeat that on the other side. Now for the fun part. I'm going to use the Pixie by Petra Rose Glow eyeliner that we used on the second look, the Soft Glam look, as the top liner. This is going to go into my waterline on my lower lashes, my lower waterline. Again, repeat that on the other side. And then hopefully, if this liner will do what it's supposed to do, it's the Ico London I Do Liquid Liner. If you have a favorite felt tip liquid liner, or otherwise favorite black liquid liner, that's what you will use. Hopefully this one will actually cooperate. I've been having issues with it, even though it's brand new. And you're going to draw your eyeliner on. And if you've got a favorite shape, use that shape. Personally, I'm all about a nice sharp wing when this wants to actually cooperate, which it's not wanting to right now, of course. Of course it's not. Why would it cooperate when I'm recording? It won't cooperate when I'm not recording, so why would I expect it to when I am? So obviously that's not the shape I intended to have. I wanted a nice sharp wing that matches up with the shape of the eyeshadow. But of course this eyeliner wants to not work right. Make do the best you can. I mean, like y'all can see, this eyeliner is wanting to drag. It's not wanting to deposit the product like I want it to. It swatches just fine. But when it comes to actually applying over top of eyeshadow, it just does not want to do right. It wants to catch and drag on the skin. It wants to be splotchy. Y'all can see it's not really depositing the color correctly. And you can see where it's dragging across the skin. And then it does this, of course. Back with the brush that I used for my applying my concealer, and see if I can clean that up. And I apologize, it's the product not wanting to cooperate. So it's definitely time for that one to go, apparently. Which is disappointing because I had another one, and that was a backup, actually, because the other one ran out, that I absolutely loved right up until it ran out. And my backup just doesn't work. So that's, like I said, pretty disappointing for me. That's smearing more than fixing, so go in with my foundation brush and try to fix that. And I apologize. Like I said, it's the product not wanting to cooperate, because y'all have seen me do absolutely fantastic cat eye wings on here when my product cooperates. But when the product doesn't cooperate, it just doesn't cooperate. So this one gets to go in the trash. Moving on. It's time for blush, bronzer, and highlighter. We're going to go in with the Ulta Beauty Cheek Brush into the bronzer shade. And we're going to bronze basically the same place we've been bronzing, right into the hollow underneath the cheekbone on each side. Into the hollow of the temple on either side. And make sure you blend this. My hair right there always catches when I start to blend the temple. Make sure you blend that out across the forehead just a little bit. Right at the edge of the hairline for myself because I am extremely pale skin. Darken that bronzer up on the cheekbones just a little bit, or under the cheekbones a little bit. And blend that really, really well. There we go. Get that nicely blended. Go in with the Flawless Finish Blend from Makeup of the Day. Same bronzer shade. Down the very side of the nose. And of course, if you prefer more bronzer or contour, by all means, go for it. Personally, I prefer a little less, so that's what I use. Makeup is all about expressing your own personal creativity. Real quick, I'm going to grab my brow brush and just kind of brush through my brows, which is just a basic spoolie. Okay. Now then, I'm not going to bronze my jawline today. Again, if you prefer to do that, you can. You don't have to. And since we have used the other two, today's blush is going to be Insta, which is this one down here. I've managed to use one of each blush on one look. Don't want too much product though, because that's a very bright blush. And I'm just applying that right here. Not quite the apples of the cheeks, but not quite the top of the cheekbone either. And we're getting a combination of natural light from my window and my ring light behind me, or behind the camera, so that's why different angles look slightly different. And make sure you blend your blush really, really well. You don't want it to be obvious that it's product. You want it to look like you're just blushing. There we go. We've got the blush on, and this is a more shimmery blush than the other two. Next, we're going to go in with the SL Miss Glam Tapered Glam 5 into the highlighter shade. We're going to highlight the very top of the cheekbone. We're going to blend that in. And I want a pretty decent highlight today. Good highlight to go with a good smoky eye. So blend that highlight up and around just a little bit into the temple. And then of course down the center of the nose. A little bit on the finger into the Cupid's bow, and a little bit on the inner corner of each eye, just to brighten that up quite a bit. There we go. Next, I'm going to go into my lip product, which is going to be the Lottie London Slay All Day in the shade So Good. I love this lippy. It is absolutely gorgeous. And again, just trace the outline of my lip. Or rather, the outline of what I want my lip to look like. And while that is drying down, I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Lash Brag Volumizing Mascara. And we want to give our lashes as much help as we possibly can. Lots of lift, lots of volume, very, very dark, very long. Especially since I'm not going to be doing the false lashes like I wanted to. Sometimes seasonal allergies just mess with what we have planned. Again, do that on the other eye for the top lashes. You want to make sure you get every single lash if you're just going with mascara rather than using other products like false lashes. And get the lower lashes too. With a heavy focus on that outer corner. And the way I like to do my outer corner lashes is to take the brush and just go in between and just pull out. And that makes sure that the lower and top lashes are getting the full amount of mascara that they can get. There we go. That's got mascara done. The lippy is not quite dry. I'd rather let it dry a little bit more, but I'm going to go ahead and go in with the gloss that I'm adding, which is the Seraphine Botanicals Berry and Juice Vegan Lip Gel, which is the same lip product that I used in the very first look of this series. And we're just going to add shine. And of course, if you've got a favorite lip gloss for that, go for it. But we just want to pump up the amount of shine because that is a matte liquid lip. And there we are. We have the finished look. And that finishes up all 3 looks from this series. If you have enjoyed this series, please leave a like. I call it a series, it's just one video, but if you've enjoyed this one, give it a like, comment, share it, make sure you are subscribed, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!